On annual Toyostove maintenance, or biannual maintenance, it's really important that we change the fuel filter and that we do some purging when we're doing that. So the first thing that we want to do, we're going to come over here, we're going to shut our valve off. There we go, our valve shut off nicely. I have a nice goldenrod filter here. I'm looking inside my reservoir down below right here. I'm not seeing any water, any fluid inside here, but I'm still going to change my filter. This is one of my best things that I can do for my Toyo stove to receive premium quality fuel coming to my Toyo stove to make it burn cleaner, be more efficient, less service life. This is a key piece of equipment here, folks. Okay, so now at the present time right here, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to open my pitcock up right here, and I'm just going to drain my fuel on out of here, and any water that's in my tank here at the present time, I'm going to go ahead and let that come on out of here. And I don't need to drain this all the way down, but there I am right there. I've drained this partially down, so I'm just going to go ahead and shut that valve off. And I have put Vaseline around the gasket here when I originally put this together. And by putting that very, very thin coat of Vaseline on there, that is going to allow my bowl to come off much easier for me. And folks, never over tighten that bowl, okay? Usually just hold on to it, give her a good twist with your hand there, that last little bit, making that final tightness. Now I'm going to go ahead and spin the filter off. I've already drained a little bit of fuel out of here, and that's going to help my hands stay nice and clean. But today, when we are dealing with diesel fuel, we should always use some type of protective gloves. We really don't want that diesel fuel on our hands. We don't want it in our clothing. We don't want it anywhere. I have safety glasses on at the present time also. So here we go. Now I got my stuff here. Here we go. So now I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to spin this off. There she goes. And I can see that it's going because, boy, look at my fluid changing in there. There we go right there. I go ahead and dump that down into my deal down below. I got my fuel coming out of my filter. Oh, I dropped my O-ring in here. Woo! This is where I want to wear my rubber gloves. Okay? I dropped my little O-ring inside there by having my gloves on there. It's made it much, much easier to put this back together for me in that manner. Oh, it almost fell off again for me. You know what? Let's just take this off. Set it off to the side right here. This is an oil spill rack that I have in my hand right there. I'm just going to go ahead and clean this up while I'm at it right here. While my last little bit of residual oil is dripping out of there. Making sure this is all nice and clean. Pitcock closed. There we go. I like that. That's nice and clean. This is ready to assemble. Let's go ahead and put our gasket back inside here. And that gasket fits right inside. There's a notch inside this goldenrod filter. And when we just gently place that gasket back in place here I am. I'm just sort of tapping this back in here. And by the way, gang, when I'm doing this, I'm keeping my gloves on. I am dealing with diesel fuel. Safety, safety, safety. Okay? Safety is a good thing, folks. Oh, don't be so difficult. Sometimes this can be a little difficult to get to go in there. There she goes. She dropped right on in there. I'm going to set this off to the side right here. Okay. Now here's my filter media right here. I'm not going to reuse this. Remember, this is one of the things that I need to do to have a very smooth running, efficient Toyo stove. Okay. So now I got this off. Let's go ahead and spin this off right here. And there she goes. Glad I got my gloves on. Make sure nothing's in there. Boom. There she goes. Here's our new goldenrod filter. Okay, we're going to go open this box up right here. Here's our new cartridge right here. One of the things I like to do before I put this in, okay, I have in my fuel tank right here, I have my valve coming out and everything. And so what I want to do at the present time, I'm just going to go ahead and open this valve body up here a little bit. And I'm going to flush a little bit of fuel out of there like I'm doing right here. And what I'm doing when that's going on is I'm actually moving some of the material that's down in the bottom of the valve and everything. I'm cleaning that out. So what I'm going to do here, because I kind of noticed I was getting some like funny looking stuff coming out of there. So I'm going to hold this up right here, and I'm really going to open this valve up right now. Okay, there we go. I got a good flow coming out of there. I've washed all the material off the bottom through the flue pipe into my filter housing. Now I'm going to go ahead and shut this valve back down again. And folks, notice how I held this bucket up here nice and high, and that's so that I don't get that diesel fuel splashing out all over my clothes and into the environment that I'm working in. Next thing I want to do, here's my new filter media right here. I'm going to turn my filter upside down. I got a little bit of fuel inside here, and I'm just going to dip my filter in here, okay? And what I'm doing is I'm adding lubrication to the threads. I have a little O-ring down below here, so by dipping this in here, I've added a little bit of oil to the threads to make this easy to go back together again. And here I go. Now that I got that done, I can easily spin this right back on here. Well, if you're not standing on your head, it's a little bit easier. But there she goes. Come on. There it goes. I'm going to go ahead and spin my filter on there. I felt my O-ring come to contact with the top piece. So when that happens, I just want to give this just about 1/8 to 1/4 of a turn more just to make sure I'm snug. Don't over tighten that up, because if we tighten that up too much, we're going to crack the top of the plastic filter, and then we're not going to get the filtration that we need. Here it is right here. I have my O-ring on here. It's nice and lubricated. It's ready to go back together again. If I want to put a little bit more on here, I can easily come down in here and just tap that once again. And now I have a nice, fresh, clean coat of oil on there. Back in I go. A little spin backwards till she clicks. And in I go. I put this back together. I open up my valve. I have just changed the fuel filter in this tank. I've purged my fuel lines. I've serviced this. If I have a fuel tank, okay, and in my goldenrod filter or whatever filter I'm choosing to use, and folks, any filter is a good filter as long as it's clean. When I have condensate, i.e. water, rust, and things like that, I'm going to need to get those out of the tank. So I'm going to have to get a barrel pump and pump the condensate out of this tank, because if I go through this whole situation where I've purged all this and I have my nice clean filter in there, but yet my tank is contaminated and it's filled full of fluid, when I open this valve up, I'm just going to ruin the new filter. And when my filter is not filtering properly, then my Toyostove will not run at its optimum performance, giving me great heat inside my house.